welcome to this quick tool review. This time around we're going to take a look at the Gochifix 16 line laser level. It's got auto leveling features, plus or minus eighth inch accuracy at 33 feet, a laser range of 200 feet with detector, which is not included. This is the model LG0116 Pro, founded on Banggood. Pretty nice looking unit from the specs. Let's see how good it looks otherwise. Now this guy used a green laser instead of a red laser, like some of the models use, and green is, your human eye is a lot more receptive to green than red, so it will make it a lot more visible. With a dimmer, a smaller amount of light becomes a lot more visible. The manual that's sitting on top is glossy paper and looks like it was written by someone who speaks very good English. Give him credit for that. Very readable. We'll get more into this in a minute. Let's take a look at the unit itself. So the unit comes with a bunch of different mounting options, which is really nice. You have this wall mount with magnets that has height and position adjust in, out, and height for wall mounts, and rotates as well. I see. Oh, gotcha. Nice. Rotating wall mount. I can see in a lot of construction sites that would be handy. It has a flat surface mount with 3 legs, and 3 points make a plane, so that should be able to auto level. If you had 4 points, one's always going to be not quite right, so 3 is ideal. So it's rotary and leveling adjust. That's nice. Has a parallel plate leveling platform for height adjust. So you could set this guy here on top of here and have a fine height adjust if necessary. Interesting combo. This one's all aluminum. You see these a lot in optical setups. This is kind of interesting that they've taken that idea and extended it to the laser level. Looks like USB-C charging, as well as comes with a charger, so you can either get a USB-C charger, came with a cable, that's an interesting plus, or the charger, a wall outlet itself, 5 volts at 1.5 amps, which is universal, more or less. Here's yet another mount. I think this one clips on the top, if I remember right, looking at the pictures. We'll get back to this one in a bit. Comes with a lithium-ion battery. Looks like a pair of, what are they, like 18650 batteries. It says 3.7 volts, 5.2 amp hours, about 20 watts. Looks like 2 18650s in here. So you could potentially replace this. Oh, look at that. It's got a charging spigot on the side. That's what the USB-C is for. Oh, I've never seen that before. So it's got a charge monitoring circuit inside the battery compartment here. You could potentially replace this, but since it's all glued together, you might have to find one. Hopefully they sell replacement batteries on their site. So it looks like you can either charge through the unit itself or charge the battery directly with this USB-C adapter right there. Some of these nice foam fitting are very tight. No, it's a very nice remote. It's white, so on the job site that's going to get dirty. It's got a 12-volt alkaline in there, so that's available. Not terribly common, but you probably even could find it in drugstores here in the United States. We'll check out the remote in a second. And here is the unit itself, very small and compact. So look at this guy. It's got a nice rubber overmold on it. This is the switch for releasing the auto leveling portion of this guy. They claim it uses a sharp 520 laser, diode laser. What these sort of units need is a well-collimated laser beam. So even if you use a semiconductor laser, you need to make sure that the photons are heading in a straight line, that they're not diverging, because if if they're not parallel, if the photons leaving the laser are not parallel, then over a long distance they'll diverge and you'll have a very wide beam. And that's what can control the length on some of these, because collimating that beam can be challenging for very long lengths. So there's the charging port for the unit itself when the battery's installed. And we see the 16 lines, so it's got 4 lines on top, 4 on bottom, 4 on the side, and 4 on this side over here. The overmold's some nice protection. It's got IP54 water resistance, so if it's raining out, light rain on this shouldn't hurt anything. It's got a 1/4-20 mount here. This guy has a 5/8 11 mount, so I assume that's for some sort of surveyor's stand or something. That's a pretty big thread. 1/4-20 is pretty much any stand in existence, like any camera stand. That's universal even for European stands. Battery goes in the bottom. I don't see a gasket, so you're definitely not submerging this guy. And it is keyed. So pop the battery in and on she goes. Very bright laser light. So you can see this on my hand here. You know, I have shooting lights here, so it is extremely bright where I'm located here. The fact that you can see this easily is pretty impressive. Let's see what you can see. It's even on a yellow, which doesn't reflect green particularly well, you can easily see the beam there. Even tilted up with, you know, a couple thousand lumens of light shine down, you can see it. That's very readable. If you tilt this past the 4 degrees auto leveling capability, it warns you in any direction. And you can turn that off, I believe, if you hold this for 3 seconds. There you go. No more alarm. I guess locking it off actually turns the laser off. So I guess that means that you turn the alarm off and then you can tilt it at an angle. I brought this guy inside the house so you could see in the largest room in my house anyways what the projection's like. It's about 20 feet wide, 14 feet tall in this room, and you can see that the laser doesn't spread too much, even 20 feet away. I put the laser all the way at the opposite wall, and so very readable in the dark, of course. But even with the light on, the laser is very readable everywhere. Sorry about the autofocus going crazy here. I don't know what it's doing. The laser light is even visible directly above the 300-watt light. It's an LED light that illuminates the room. No problem. That's directly above it. So that's really impressive. Plenty bright. Thought I'd open this guy up and see what it was like inside. It looks like the case comes apart by removing 2 of the side emitting ports and taking all 4 screws and the plates off of those, as well as 4 screws on the bottom that are really hard to get to. I'm not even sure how you're supposed to get to 2 of them because part of the plastic's in the way, and I didn't see an easy way to remove that. They did leave access holes for 2 of the screws on the bottom, but the other 2 I end up having to use a flat-bladed screwdriver to get to, which is just insane. So there's a weather seal on the top piece and a TPU rubber piece on the bottom of that window there. So that's the one that has to come off, and then the other one is on the right here, that one right there. Let's pop that guy off. I was secretly hoping I wouldn't have to get to those other 2 screws on the bottom because I wasn't sure. I didn't have a Phillips that was that small and long enough to get in there. And it was going to be at a significant angle on top of everything, which is not ideal either. The 2 that had the holes also required a significant angle, so I don't know what their plan was. There must be some trick they've got for assembly of this. It was not obvious to me. The flat-bladed screwdriver, I'm able to get the 2 halves of the clamshell finally apart and get those screws out. Using a flat-bladed screwdriver on a Phillips always gives me the creeps, but it was the only way to do it. And the clamshell does come open quite nicely. The fit is outstanding. The mold, they obviously spent a lot of time on making these molds accurate. A lot of times the molds don't fit well together. These do. The auto leveling setup is just a 2-direction gimbal. There's one running from one side, and then that internal one has yet another one. There's some microfine wires here that attach to the laser. I don't know if you really can't see them on camera. They're like 32 gauge or something like that. They are super tiny wires, which also limits the angle that they could auto level this at. If you wondered why they didn't do more, it's because, among other things, those wires would not make it. So they probably wanted to restrict that. The circuit board is pretty straightforward. There's an antenna on the upper side of it, and it looks like that's for their RF remote. I thought at first it would be an IR remote, but it's not. It's actually RF remote, which is kind of interesting. The gimbal assembly that holds the light, everything is pre-assembled, which is nice. That way they can get alignment done on some sort of jig or fixture. That ensures that you get square and parallel like you need for these laser levels. And the assembly, can be done in the clean room also to keep all dust and dirt out. The laser LEDs, by the way, have to have a servo control feedback loop to keep the power from becoming too excessive, because semiconductor lasers, as they get hotter, they put out more power, so they get hotter still and then put out more power, and thermal runaway will make them kill themselves. So part of the PC board circuitry over there is to control that servo circuit, because on the semiconductor laser chip, they often build, and everyone I know of puts a sensor in there so that you can measure the output of the LED, or the laser in this case, and servo the power to make sure it maintains at a consistent level. I really wanted to get in there and see if that was a sharp laser diode in there like they say. I don't see why it wouldn't. It's not terribly expensive. The sharp laser diode's capable of up to 120 milliwatts, I think, which is pretty impressive. But the whole assembly is glued together as one big piece, so I can't get in there without damaging anything. Overall, I think the quality of the laser light coming out of the unit is very good. The beam doesn't spread much over long distances. They claim 33 feet. You probably could do more with this. They certainly claim that you can do 200 feet with a sensor, but I think you could visibly do more than 33 feet, even in a moderate lighting situation, which is pretty nice. I like the fact that you've got control of the horizontal and vertical laser beams. I like the fact that you can put this guy at an angle. That's also nice. The TPU coating over the ABS shell is a nice touch, especially with the weather resistance. The auto leveling feature works very well and is very convenient. The remote is pretty handy, and there's lots and lots of mounting options, which is great. You've got the vertical or wall mount that I would probably keep a metal plate with this, that you have 2 holes you could drill in if you wanted to mount on a wall on a construction site. But you've got vertical fine adjust, horizontal fine adjust, and rotation. Very nice adapter piece. You, of course, have the 3-foot leveling base unit, which can be a bit challenging to get out of this case, and that also has rotary control on that piece as well, and that works in conjunction with the fine height adjust unit, which is pretty nice, all made out of aluminum. Could have done a better job deburring that. That thing's razor sharp, so be careful with that guy. The remaining piece that I said I'd talk about later can mount the unit on the top or one of the side pieces, just clips on any one of these windows, and you can mount it at a particular angle that suits your needs. The battery is lithium ion. It's 2, I believe, 181650 batteries with a charging circuit. And I looked online to see if I could find a direct replacement for this, and I could not. There might be a generic replacement out there. But in any case, if this guy dies, you might have a little bit of work to do. As to the price and overall value, I saw this guy on Banggood for $75 or so. That's an amazing value, and I think it's excellent. Thanks for watching. Hope you find it useful. Hope to see you next time.